Hello, everyone. Damien from FlowForge here. I want to talk about something really, really important today. It's a fundamental issue that we struggle with living in the modern world that affects us more when we have ADHD. With ADHD, almost inherently comes impulsiveness and impatience, right? Like your brain is sending you a stronger signal that says, go do something, go make something happen. Like, give me dopamine, yum, 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 right? And so, this problem that normal people struggle with of impatience is exasperated in someone with ADHD. And I'll speak from experience here. I'm this way. I will come out right out and say it. I'm a workaholic. It's really, really, really hard for me to disengage from my work. In fact, I will know that I should be doing something more chill, need to take time off, and just refuse to sometimes. And it's something that I'm working on. But the reason that I do this is because it's stimulating, because it's intense to push myself, you know? And that's kind of the struggle with ADHD is you just always need intense. And intense could also be doing nothing. Like I've been the exact opposite before, right? Where it wasn't work, it was being essentially lazy and just constantly consuming content. And I'd always try and consume educational content, and I'd tell myself like, "Oh, this is this is good. Like I'm growing," and it's like that's not what was happening. I was just being lazy. So it's very, very, very hard when you have ADHD to find balance. But I can almost guarantee that part of the reason why it's so hard is because you don't have patience, which is something that we all struggle with, especially in today's world. Like, I want you to think about this. Like, every day, you basically get the equivalent of like 4 terabytes of cultural data just like beamed into your head, like every day, just using the internet. It's actually insane the amount of data that your brain has to process every single day just to stay plugged in. And the fact that everything forces you to be plugged in. Your job forces you to be plugged in, your family forces you to be plugged in. Like, even the things that are supposed to be slow and enjoyable in life force you to be plugged in to a screen in some way. Like, you got to order through the phone, you got to call an Uber, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, there's so many times you just have to use these things, and they're distracting, they're overstimulating, they pull you away from things. They literally just rob you of all of your time and energy. And what the hell are you going to do? How are you going to get anything done? Right? And, you know, you can try to create stimulation through like basically story maxing, right? And it's like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm focusing, and I'm like making all these sacrifices, and I'm like doing all the things. But then this still leads to the same problem of impatience because you just wind up thinking to yourself, okay, I need to get this done faster. I need to get this done faster. Like I have so many things to do, and I've got like all these shiny objects that I'm chasing, and it's like this is bad, right? Like this isn't good. So this is kind of the curse of ADHD is like you are always extreme in some way. It's very, very hard to find balance. But it's hard for normal people to find balance too, so we can't really gripe about it. We just need a solution. So I'm going to give you this mindset that'll help you be patient in the world. And it's this. Just understanding and like telling yourself when you are run into something where it's like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this going as I want it to go? Why isn't this working? Like, and then you have the temptation to walk away or to start something new. Just tell yourself that's not how it works. And that's the truth. It's not how it works. And you can use this for anything. Like another person is, being irritating towards you. And then you are getting mad at them, like, why can't they just that right there? That just is always when this you start to use this, when you notice the word just. Why can't they just? Why doesn't this just? And the answer is because that's not how it works. Like, the reason this person is annoying you or aggravating you is because they don't understand something about your situation, or they do understand something and you don't understand something, right? There's always just one of you doesn't understand something. And if that's the case, then you guys getting along is just not how it works. Like, for whatever reason, that's not how this works right now. And there's a process that you have to go through in order to make it work. I caught myself, I'll be vulnerable with you guys here. I don't like to admit this because it makes me feel like a bad person, but I know I'm not a bad person. I was just irritated where, I was going to walk my dog, and so I had her put the leash on. I held it open for her so she could put her head through it, and she was so energetic and bouncing around that she wouldn't even put her head in the leash. And I was kind of irritated at the time, and I thought to myself, why can't you just chill? And then I caught myself. It's because that's just not how it works. She's a dog. That's not how her nervous system works. One, she doesn't know better. And then two, her nervous system is built completely different than a human's, and they just get much, much more excitable. So that's just not how it works. It's completely unreasonable. And you might know this, but actually having this string of words here, that's not how it works. And being able to tell yourself that. Why am I not successful yet? Because it's not how it works. You have to put in a lot more work. You have to put in a lot more effort. You have to put in a lot more time. And why can't it be done yet? Because that's not how it works. You need to wait. You need to be patient. Why is this not going this way? Because that's not how it works. You haven't met the conditions necessary for it to work, for things to go your way. In fact, there is no your way. Your way doesn't matter. Your way is a lie. Your way is a fantasy, right? There's only the reality of the situation. And the reality is that that's just not how it works, bro. It's not. That's what I wanted to talk about, really. And so what can you do to regain focus and patience, when you struggle with this? Like this mindset helps, but you're going to need a little bit more, right? The main thing is just understanding. If you understand that everything takes time, and you understand that, here's the problem, is if you are getting these 4 terabytes of information every day pumped into your head, guess what's happening? This is leading you down a rabbit trail. This is completely destroying your focus. You always have a new idea. You always have something new you can be doing. You always have some new thought about what you should do to fix your life. And they come so quickly because of this, because you have people basically giving you advice 24/7, where you never actually sit down and do the thing. That's the problem. And so if you were to disconnect from all of the noise, you would find it to be much, much easier to be patient, because life would slow the hell down. And remember, everything is momentum with ADHD. So once you slow down, it's easier to stay slow. But if you're up here, it's going to be jarring to go down here, and your brain isn't going to like that, and it's going to want to go back up. But if you ease into it slowly, then you'll be good. The way that you can gain back focus and can escape from the 24/7 constant surge of helpful content that's not actually helping you, because you're not actually doing anything, because you don't have time, because you're distracted, and because you're impatient, and because you're not committing to a process for long enough, and this is always pulling you away from it. The only thing that you can do is just unplug. And you can't unplug in this world. You have to find some median. And for me, the solution that I found is switching to more analog technology, just using a notebook instead of a Notes app. I do use Notes app, and I use them because they help with workflows, right? And that's another thing, is you have to understand, you have to build your workflows. You're the builder of your life, and you have to work on something until it works. And that's what creates speed, is when you spend the patience and the time building or forging the process. And this is fuzzy when you start. You're not really sure what you're doing, and you have to experiment, and it takes time. You don't just get to do things. You always have to forge the process, always. And it takes time. Like, I'm certain this is not the final setup for my videos, right? But I'm figuring it out. That's what matters. But switching to analog helps. Like, instead of using a notes app where you're just like blindly writing everything in there at the speed of light as you like consume it, using a notebook where it's much more intentional, much more thoughtful. You have to pick it up, you write it down. There's a tactile experience, which is nice. Decluttering things, decluttering your screens helps a lot because your ADHD brain gets overstimulated. Like, you're probably living in a constant type of overstimulation. So it's important to make things minimal because if you know that you live in a world that is full of information and you might be on one side of the spectrum or the other. I get overstimulated more easily. Some people need more stimulation. You're going to have to find your balance point as someone with ADHD because everybody with ADHD is different. But I know I get overstimulated very easily, so I need to make things more minimal. That's just how my brain works. That's how I have to do things. Whoever you are, I can almost guarantee that you can benefit from making things more minimal. If you need some lower level stimulation, think about things like colors. This setup for me is perfect because I'm using like the colorful markers, but it's a kind of minimal setup. I really wish that these would go away. I've actually tried to get rid of them before with a user script, but it turned out to be a fruitless endeavor just because of how it was set up. I would be able to do it if I knew CSS, but I'm not entirely familiar with CSS quite yet. It helps. Making things minimal helps. Making things just stimulating enough where it's like, oh, that's nice to look at. Like, that's pleasant. Trying to keep things clean and calm. And that would be my suggestion is if you're like this, you need to dedicate yourself for a while at least to becoming clean and calm. Because remember, momentum and intensity, like you always collapse into an intense thing. Like I had a moment in my life where I was basically a monk. I had a moment in my life where I was meditating all the time. I was very peaceful. I was very calm. I felt like I was having a deeper and higher quality of thoughts. And it was really, really nice, right? But then I got out of it. And that's the problem is I got out of it. But the whole reason I got into it is because I collapsed into an extreme archetype of being a monk, right? So that's how I was living my life. And I really enjoyed it because it was extreme. And that's what you can do. So you can weaponize this and you can try this where it's like, okay, I'm going to be extreme about doing some digital cleaning up. Like I'm going to switch to Linux and make everything more intentional. I'm going to switch to analog stuff to make things more intentional. Instead of using a phone, I'm going to use a dumb phone. Like I'm going to use a Nokia, BlackBerry, whatever. Just call and text. Like that's all you need. And you can still have the other phone, but there's apps that you can download that'll turn a normal phone into a dumb phone. You have options. You can solve this problem. You can put your thinking cap on and you can design your world, okay? And that is the hope here is that there's nothing stopping you from submitting to the process of trying to become more calm first and giving yourself a good foundation and nothing wrong. There's nothing in the way of you trying to submit to the process of making life more intentional and clean and slow so that you can actually get more things done and so you're not distracted all the time. You can build the fortress, you can build the walls, you can download the extensions, you can do these things. So just do them. And if it doesn't work, just keep trying because again, like this whole video is about how everything is a process. So you just have to get back on the horse. You fall off the horse, you get back on the horse. You fall off the horse, you get back on the horse. It doesn't matter if it's months in between. Just get back on the horse. Just know that this is a priority. This is your needle mover. Like you need this. Okay? So if you want help doing this, go ahead and click the link in the description. We can have a talk about it. Go ahead and join the Discord so that we can actually connect, so that we can be more slow and intentional about our relationships with others. Don't just look at me through a screen. Like, talk to me, Like, let's actually move this needle forward. Let's actually do something, right? And so join the Discord if you want a community of people who are trying to get their lives together like this, who can help you and keep you on track. Yeah, that's all, guys. Thank you so much. Peace.